Hi. Hopefully it started. Uh, sometimes take a second. And um, so, what we're going to do today is I have this website which is built with Astro, and I had an experiment of kind of like Astro SPAs, and I started to write one using React Router. Then I made a poll on Twitter that that basically I asked, should I just keep it as MPA? Should I rewrite it with Astro? Oh, sorry, with Solid, or should I rewrite it with React? And Solid, I think, got like twice the votes of React. So we're doing Solid. I tried a bit of experiments with Astro and Solid, and uh, basically kind of like the same issue. No docs, no examples. I talked with okay, now I don't see his name. Okay, Alexis. I talked with Alexis, and he showed me this project, and it doesn't use solid router. It uses its own kind of like router, but other than that, it's Astro Solid SPA. I think it even has SSR. Yes, and we're doing hard mode. We're doing SSG instead of SSR. It's much more complicated to do it, but solid looks solid. Just needs to grow the community. Yeah, and it's funny that uh, React documentary just published a few days ago, and it covers basically like maybe like 2012 2015 kind of like range of of how uh, I don't know, like React project and React community, kind of like how it started. So a lot of reminiscing about those times and how different it was, and how there was like uh, no docs, no no ecosystem, and so on. So uh, that stuff happens. People just follow the popular tag, and they don't mind the performance and redundant renders. Sure, but that's the question of like, when you were in 2013, um, did we had a popular tech at the time? Because Ember was pretty popular. Angular was probably like getting to like number 2 or number 1. So like, why didn't they keep it for longer, right? And that's an interesting question. So he pointed out that there is some there is some like options that create resource has. Now, if only I could find it. No. Well, okay, so it was here, initial value. Yes, okay, so this one. Yeah, so he pointed me out to this API, so hopefully that will kind of like unblock me in my experiments. So yeah, I don't know how much time you have today, so let's hope that we can finish it, and it would be by the end, if you can do it. It's going to be basically like uh, it's going to be SolidJS meta framework that has like SSR, SSG, and yeah, there are not a lot of those. So hopefully that will. There is actually like React Router they started porting everything to Solid. I even played myself with the repo and like try to get some stuff running. I haven't looked into that in a long time, but I'm pretty sure it's probably not going to work with like all the SSR and stuff that we need. So we are not going that deep into the like bleeding edge. So anyway, so this is a website, and so there's docs page, and if I click on it, it requires full page reload, which is fine. Where's the file icon? Okay, okay, it's there. I don't know if that's like dark mode or something. I don't think it works like that, but yeah. So if you write it as SPA, I just want to do docs page. I don't want to do like home and FAQ, just so you can see like, hey, this is a full page reload, but later on, like this navigation is inside of SPA. So that's kind of like the goal that I'm setting to myself. So let's look at my experiments. So this one was with React Router, and I got kind of like the most stuff working there. Um, so this one is using 10 stack router. So it's React version. Uh, so hey, uh, hey, okay. I'm like bad at reading like words and names. So, and you guys have like hard names. So give me a second to read through it. It's Volterix, I guess, and Al, mm, Alex. I have no idea. Yeah, that's when people try to pronounce my name and they like kind of like, oh, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. um, okay, so I guess I have like a lot of experiments. Did I have one for Solid, or was it like another package? You can call whatever you want. Yeah, that's the thing with my like Twitter name is Jay Larky, and I came up with that name, and it took probably like years before I figured out the right way to pronounce it. That is to say that like I had my own ideas how to pronounce it, and it changed like 3 times before I settled on JLarchy. That's basically like how people who never heard it pronounce it, and I was like, yeah, I guess that's the right one. Okay, so there are different experiments with like including Dino and stuff. The website is right now is deployed to both Dino deploy and Vercel, and I just like I like that it's both. Uh, yeah. So have you guys played with Solid or Astro? Or like, what's your interest? I guess. Vercel is everywhere. Yeah. So basically, at work we use Netlify because we used their kind of like free version for the longest time. And Uh, I use Vercel for some of my like personal project, and Dino deploy is the fun one that that I like. So I would say that in terms of like deployment, probably Vercel is like the fastest one. Dino deploy probably the second one. It depends. If you deploy Dino apps, Dino deploys faster than than Vercel, of course. But if you deploy Node apps, that's where you get a bit slowdown. And yeah, Netlify is just they have like a better free plans, and we kind of like already use it. There is no reason for us to migrate right now. Okay, so I'm figuring what I should. So we have like is technically this template has SPA, but it's like it's not used. Uh, so here, in terms of dependencies, we won't use any of that. So here, because all of this is React, we're going to change it. But we probably want to keep the file names or something. Yeah, well, yeah, this one was the cool one, the island link. I like building that one. Okay, yeah, go to sleep. What country, by the way? Turkey. Oh, you guys had like you and like Syria and a few countries nearby had like this huge earthquake. Uh, is it back to normal, like somehow in terms of like electricity and water and stuff, or is it still like full blown apocalypse? Yeah. Any government issues? Yeah, I mean that's always the issue. Like no one knew that this would happen. No one was prepared. Everyone like forgot where the shovels were supposed to be and stuff. Yeah, that's. I've been in like a basically like the biggest uh, typhoon of like the history of the world, and it was happening in Philippines, and I was in Philippines at the time. So yeah, it was pretty bad, and that country had like those kind of like uh, hurricanes, those kind of like I forgot the name. I just I just thought it, but they had their stuff like 10 times a year, and still like no one kind of like was prepared, which is pretty sad. Okay, so I guess let's just start and see what breaks and try to try to untangle it. Alter HTML. Okay, we will need alter HTML. Okay, so works, and even this works. Okay, I don't know why it works, but that's fine. uh, so let's start with So basically, in create QGP, I created this um, template where I started playing with it. So I should just I should just copy that structure. So we're going to use Solid instead of React for our Vite version. And I guess our Vite version should open it. Yeah. So doesn't do much. And CSS is broken and stuff. Okay, so now if I go to QGP config, so what's going to happen? They're going to use Solid instead of React. I do like source maps though. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Now I need to install those packages. So we're installing Astro integration with Solid, which means we should probably remove the the React integration, but we don't have to do it right now. So let's do all of that. And this one is for some reason is developer dependency. Okay, so can probably commit that. Okay, so I'm just writing down what I did, and it was all for HTML as well. Okay, so now what do we do now? So I guess it died. Okay, so it doesn't do anything at the moment. So now we do I guess I just want to copy. Oh yeah, I should probably turn on that that ding doesn't do much for you. Um, so I should probably copy. I guess it's QGP solid. and QGP. Yeah, so both of them. We should copy it to our QGP and probably remove like and stuff. So we no longer need and, we no longer need React. Yeah, just need this. And okay, so the stories, where's the app? And it's in components. Like this. No. Where is it? uh, okay, so this is SPA, but there's also app.tsx. Yeah, this one. Okay. I mean, could probably do something like inline it just to test it. Okay, so I'm disabling this import for now. And so what's wrong with the router? Okay, I don't know what that means. So okay, so Solid is trying to use some kind of CSS. We would need to use Tailwind or something like that. Okay, so let's restart TypeScript. Maybe that's our issue. I mean, yeah, I don't know. We have errors here. So router cannot be used as JSX component. Undefined is not assignable to element or null. So the router is undefined. Interesting. Okay. Uh, uh, I wonder if we do anything special for like solid uh, in terms of types. I wonder if there's some kind of like DT, yeah, kind of like that. It's only using Astro. Hmm. Okay. So let's not worry about TypeScript too much at the moment. Uh, so here indeed, yeah, basically like something from JSX doesn't work, which could be happening because of the React types, uh, which mean we should probably just remove them. So let's remove React types. Okay, so then maybe it would be fine if React types no longer conflict with the solid ones. Okay, so now I think we made it worse. Cannot find module. Oh yeah, we need to update tsconfig as well. Okay, so okay, I think it's better, but not by much. Okay, so there are a lot of those modules that no longer work. Uh, we'll get there when we get there. So now we need Astra config. And in Astro config, we need to have integration with Solid instead of React. And that's going to be there. Let's just restart. Okay, so here's where our SPA used to live. And that's where all the like SSR stuff is happening. Yeah. That's going to be the interesting part. Okay, so we have something here. So now let's look into how I was going to do routing. Okay, so solid router. So they have like a solid based router, but I don't know if that's part of solid start or part of solid router. Yeah. I guess if they require like file system something. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so it's not part of solid router. Okay. Uh which is fine. We can do it. Okay, so let's go to SPA Astro. Uh SPA Astro. Uh so here's our thing. So this layout is the same. We use like ID root here uh, because that's what read CSS requires. But we don't have to do it here. So we probably don't even need separate SPA layout, but let's keep it for now. So now here we're doing client load, but we're passing URL now. Okay, so our app is now, we now get it from Solid. We need to turn off all the routing for now. And this works, and this shows hello world. Okay. Okay, so I mean, okay, so probably need to put it here. And we already do, so let's try it. Docs. Okay. I don't know why introduction doesn't work like that. I guess because the content is right in here, but we need to put it to Markdown first. Yeah, let's not do that. Should probably have like a README. Not README, but like to do. Okay, so we're going for fix move docs to content collection. Okay. So this is fine. This is fine. This SPA will pass this URL, so we don't even have to worry about that. So now, what do we do with that URL? So here this router gets URL, and I think that's almost as far as we need to go for SSR. Um, let's imagine that this is as far as we need to go. Still has some random errors. Okay, so so now how do we get uh, how do we get to actual routing stuff? So this is where our routing here was, but this is how routing happens in this experiment. Uh, okay, so here it was just app. So do we have those components? App.txx. Okay, so here's what we have right now. And here's what we want to have. Oh yeah, here we're doing like overloading this like SSR and not. I don't think we need to do that uh, in solid, but we'll see. Okay, so we use solid router. We disable everything that's React router related at the moment. But we need to have routes. Uh, cool thing about routes is that we can kind of like generate them based on files or something like that. Um, uh, I don't know how that works yet, so we're going to have the same kind of like system of just having a constant. uh, and we need to figure out how, I don't know how to say it, how nested routing works. Okay, so still hello world here. So that's because we need something like this. Okay, so it's component app.tsx. Why wouldn't it work? Okay. Um, so what's happening? String. Okay, so wrong string. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's much better. So now here we have import routes. Okay, we don't want to import routes yet. And there needs to be solid log. Okay, we're not doing that yet. Okay, so it's still not working. There's some unexpected syntax stuff. Okay. Okay, much better. Okay, so this is our thing. So how do we add some kind of like 404? Yeah, I wish I wish there were docs. Handling 404. Okay. I guess issues are as good as docs. Just need to change catch all route to put navigate component element. Okay, so what's the difference? I don't know what's the difference. Ah, okay. Not using children, using element. Okay. Um, okay. So in our case, we are doing star, and we're returning like 404, something like that. Okay, so it returns 404 and returns the counter here, and it uses the logo, which we don't have as well. Okay. uh, okay. Uh, that's fine. So now we want to play with this. What if I have outlet from React Router? I save it and I go here. It's 404. But now if I have children, those children have, I guess, catch all route. Let's catch all. Okay. Okay, it's always catch all. Okay, but now if I create a separate one for slash, that's going to be index. And I have separate one for SPA, that's going to be SPA. Now index. So now if I'm on SPA, I'm on SPA. Okay. Okay. It's not bad for now. So what's happening here? Schedule and it's SPA. Okay, that's fine. We are trying to to understand how that works. So this is going to be some kind of layout. And those are going to be the components. I want to have links. And I think it's a link component. That's not 2. Is it href? So, and if I have docs, and if I have SPA, index docs SPA. Okay, so this navigation now doesn't require reload, and it should work here as well. Perfect. I guess this is not exciting part, but it is for me. Something didn't work. Oh, it should be in the fragment probably. Yeah. And we need to move state out of here. And I want to have Cool. It's interesting that it's all like that here, but not here because the CSS is different. But let's not worry about it. Let's just write it down in use the same CSS in Vite as in Astro. So now that we have all of that, what do we want to do with it? What do we want to do with it? Uh, so that one was okay. That one was okay. This is okay. So here's where we were doing all of this before, and we need to convert that from React to Solid. I'm sure there is a faster way to do that. This is our old. Okay. This is a mix of our old SPA and new stuff. So we're looking at this one, we're looking at that one. So let's remove everything that is not relevant right now. We only care about docs page. So we're removing that. Nested, counter, sidebar. We don't need any of that stuff. Hello from Vite. We might need that page. I should say something different, but we still might need to. We don't need loading anymore. So this this page is available from both Astra and Vite. Okay. So where's the ultra HTML part? Just in routes and self. Yeah, but what about element docs? Okay, it's a separate element. Okay, I can work with that. So yes, let's start. We are going to start with use loader data. So here it's data, but something else data. Use route data. Okay. We have use route data. It also returns some kind of like random type, to be honest. How do we? I think it's in our HTML. We will see. Okay. So now we'll go here, and for our docs page, we will have a separate page that's going to be docs, and it's going to be docs component from docs. Okay. Let's go undefined. In here, undefined. Which is perfectly fine. This is what we expected to do. And now, so this thing takes route definitions. So if I write satisfies route definition, I guess. Now here I can use some kind of loader. I think it's data. It's a function that returns some data. Yes. Okay. And this is where get server-side props or use loader from Remix would kind of be working on. I think here we have some kind of data. I guess it's also interesting experiment of like where do you expect this to happen, and in yes, so here we are seeing it during SSR. It's actually interesting. If I click on this link, it will return one data, but if I refresh it, it's going to be different. Okay, so we need this one. Okay, so params, we actually expect params to have some information. It's empty. Is that not how you write params there? I think it's like that. Why doesn't it pick it up? Okay, so if I do this, yeah, I guess unless I call it by name, it doesn't know that it needs to do this. Comparisons. Okay, so now whatever I write here, it's all going to be going into a slug. Okay. So now how do we get this information? We go back to routes, and we will ignore SSR thing for now because it's way more complicated than we need. And we need something like this. Or okay, let's copy the whole thing. Oh no, it has a lot. Okay, I don't know. Okay, should do this. So let output be in equals. Yeah. So we get this, and we'll call it const slug. Now it does async stuff because that's not how you write it in Solid. So in Solid, it has to be create resource, and I'm not entirely sure how it works. Let's do this. Let's create a resource, and it's going to be slug, and it's going to return uh, I plus slug. Yeah, just return this. So await can only be sure. So we can create a function, async function, and we'll just put everything into that function. Sure. So interesting. So we return the whole resource. I don't know if we're doing this on server or so. Let's let's just do console log. Console log resource. Um, oh, we need to be in docs. Sure. So it happens here. We have refetch, mutate, and read. I think we only want to use read. And we need to call it. Okay, so it took some time. It didn't show up right away. And that's probably my question. How does it work with SSR? So here, uh, we have link, SPA, all of that stuff. Then we just have kind of like a marker, just like, hey, put stuff here once you have information. And we only get that information on the client. Why is that? That's something I'm trying to understand. So now there is a option for create resource, which is okay. So this is function, and I guess like after that, okay. I guess we don't need this one. So this is what it returns, but this is what it takes. It's a fetcher and options, or source fetcher and options. Okay. Um, so in our case, let's go into options. And what are our options? So it could be initial value. So that's the stuff that we get during SSR, but then we still refetch it. And now if I put SSR load from initial or server, and initial, interesting. So I'm still confused. Why am I confused? So this one is get, but that one is res. So I okay, I'm really confused how it works. What should happen so that this code will run? We need to have a link that is like that. Okay, I need to go to docs. That's true. To this one. And no, docs Astra. Okay, this one. And I should just replace it with SPA. So it's import SPA from. Okay, I don't think it got what I'm trying to do. So this. Okay, so this. Okay. I'm on SPA page. Yes, I got it. um, that's cool. That's really cool. So what we want to do is the following. So get doc is a function that returns get doc and maybe like that. So now if I call this function here, it's going to be one thing, but I can also call it here. So I get doc called, but now what if I do something like SSR? I guess log. So SSR false, our philosophy. And SSR true, our philosophy. Okay. Why did it? Why did it try to? What are the parameters? Fetcher. So fetcher is, I guess, source info. Okay, so what is the info? Value under fetching. Okay, I guess I imagined it a bit different. Uh, okay, so what's happening with arguments? I feel like it worked for a second, so I don't know if I broke it. Okay, so now arguments are true, value, and they're fetching. So what is the value? The value, is that the old value? Okay, this introduces so much, so many things at the same time, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so, but the interesting thing was we get a lot of get docs here. Oh, okay. So what we actually need to do is the following. So if you're doing SSR, we are using this. If we're not doing SSR, we're not doing anything. Okay, or maybe oh no, like empty object. Okay, so I guess here it's like I refresh it. I don't know how to clear this out in clear. Yeah, okay. um, so I refresh it. There is nothing happening on the server. And if I go to docs, the only requests that are going to happen, they're going to happen here, and the value is undefined. So we didn't have anything in cache, and we're fetching it for the first time. Now, if I go to this page and I refresh, we get first time the thing ran on the server, so SSR true. Then it ran, we called args, so it called this. Well, that's unfortunate. So how do I make sure that we're not in, I don't think it, okay, so we have to have this thing. Okay, this is confusing. uh, what I'm afraid of is if I put too much stuff in initial value, there's that like double sending of like the data. And if I'm not careful, I could be sending it more than double. That's what I'm afraid of. So let's try this. So initial value is some value stuff, and I can save it like that. Okay, so it was high something, but then it became some value stuff. So it was this value, but then it became this value. This is so interesting. Okay, so uh, uh, value from SSR, value from JSON, SSR JSON, and then it becomes value from client. Okay, this is going to be cool. So if I click on the link, it's going to be value from the client. But if I refresh this link, now I get value from SSR something. And if I curl it, I can see value from SSR in HTML. But I bet if I build it, this JavaScript file basically uh, like here it's going to have. So this one is with source map, disable source source maps. So if I disable source maps and if I click on it, no, it still has SSR. I guess it's like it didn't, that code eliminated, but it should. Um, then it would only send this thing. This is so cool. Okay, so now let's read docs a bit. Now that we played with it and we know how it works, let's read and figure out how it works. Um, so we wanted to understand how this thing works. One server rendering resources, especially when fetching from some other system, you might want to initialize a resource with prefetched value instead of fetching again. Yeah, yep. Uh, right, so let's test one more thing. So if we're on this page and we don't set initial value, yeah, so it becomes undefined. Okay, so we kind of do that. Okay. Serialize its own state. Okay. Okay. I don't know what that means, but you can use the new SSR load from option instead of using default server. Okay, so that's default. So they have like undefined server as in one option and initial the other. Resource will use initial value as if it were the result of the fetcher. Okay, so it doesn't need to run the fetcher if we set it to initial. Okay, super cool stuff. Let's try to build it anyway, just in case if it works. Okay, it did. So now let's grab this. So all of that is HTML so far. Okay. uh, is that source maps? Yeah, source maps are not as interesting. This one is interesting. Yes. Uh, I don't know how to see now what. Okay. Let me disable source maps for now. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So it's like this solid.js. Right. So it it does that code eliminate, and like only one of them will exist. So uh, but if we're not doing it, we are getting one value from HTML and one value inside of JavaScript bundle, which we could probably do something about it. And I wonder how. Uh, Basically, we can do like window location here because we already have window, and we can store our state some other way. It's actually possible for us to be smarter. I, I basically squish. Um, I basically heard someone from Squish of like, hey, we have this 10 kilobyte uh, logo that we already sent it in HTML. Why do we try to like get it again during client side rendering? Just uh, just find that part in HTML and don't don't get it twice. So that means, so if you're not sending initial value, if you're not sending it, we will see. Okay, so we're not sending it at all. We see just like blinking. If we send it with server, if we send it, we will get it basically three times. Once in HTML, second time through uh, okay, so once with HTML, second time. Huh, I wonder. Okay. Um, once with HTML, once within JavaScript bundle, and third times we will just get to the server and like ask for it over JSON or something. Uh, but it's actually probably possible like here. I wonder what's the. You can just copy it for now. So document query, select query. What's happening? Okay, so should be something like this. Yeah. So what is going to happen? Okay, so it's HTML object, and if it's inner text something, content, text content, yes. So whatever we send here, it's going to add on top of that. so we don't need to send it. Right. So this is going to be silly because like those values are going to change all the time. But hopefully you see what I'm trying to say is that we don't need to get the data twice. Uh, as long as we, yeah. Uh, so now we only send like this in JavaScript bundle, and that's fine value to have. Okay. Um, I'm getting like two uh, text. Yeah, and because it's renders so fast, you don't actually see it. Yeah, so the trick is not to touch it, to just leave it like that, and then I bet there's not even like going to be any rendering, but we can check it. So what happens is that inside of docs.txt we have this, and if we create effect, it's going to just console log this data. We are going to see if it's even changing. No, it's not. But if I do something with it, am I doing it right? So it shows use raw data right now, but if I delete it, oh no, it has actually updated. So it still re-renders it. I bet there is like no other way to do that, but which also means that maybe we can do that magic here just inside of like this function, uh, like this thing. So if I do it here, yeah, so it still has that value from, yeah. And here I can make like an ID or something, and yeah. Okay, so that means that during SSR, I pass initial value and I okay. So during SSR, okay, this is going to be tricky. I need to do this just like outside of it, like here. Oh, crashed it. Okay, so it's like a function that returns it. I need to restart it now. I I'm famously like good at just like crashing Astro. Okay, so it's undefined, unfortunately. Okay, but if I if I do type of document and this, it returns a value. And now if this resource doesn't return anything, I just use text. And it could be null. Okay. If I convert it to undefined, will you be happy? Yes, you will be. Yeah, this is like the best SSR possible. It is not the best. I need more links. So what was the other one? Comparisons. Okay, so hmm. Oh yeah, because it needs to be like per page. I don't know how to write it yet. So this, oh yeah, I guess that's the part of like of uh returning slug probably. Okay. Uh Params. Okay, params is undefined. Okay, I'm almost confused how that works. This all of the whole thing is undefined. Okay. Not undefined here. Okay. I guess that that ID has changed or something. Yeah, it's now 6 because we have more links. Okay, so now it's undefined. Uh, hmm. Okay, how do you make it so it's getting a new resource on every page? Because it shows rest once, it doesn't change after that. Okay, but if I use this, will that work? Okay. Uh, okay, this is this is getting confusing. So I don't want this anymore, probably. Right. I still wanna stop it for the first time though. So let's do a counter and let's up it on every time we click. 2, 3, 4, so on. So, and so it's 0. So when, if I, yeah, if I plus plus equals 0, just return undefined. Otherwise, you get value from client. I wonder why it didn't work. So if I'm here and I click here, it's undefined. I click here. Okay, still doesn't change when the slug changes. Or I guess does, but it doesn't pick up that the value changed. I see get dog called. And but the intent that it returns is no longer well. It was going so good. Okay. So let's give up on that experiment a bit. Otherwise we're not going to be able to finish it. Okay. To return source maps. Okay. So so what is this? We need to share context between multiple requests. Okay. Okay. I have no idea what that means. Okay, that's where we create a static router for yeah. Anyway, so this is a file that we don't need in Solid. So now, yeah, we haven't figured out what to do with styles yet. Basically, like for this page, because it doesn't do much. This is fine. Get article stuff is fine. We need to play with it a bit. So this one we don't need anymore. Routes, yeah. So we need to do that get article magic now. That's the time, and we already copied it. We just haven't figured out how to do it yet. So let's start with client only. And that's going to be our get doc. So get doc could be an async function. So that's why we want to put this async stuff into it. Even has debugging for slow network. Okay, so we do need to add transform and sanitize. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Uh, okay, so this is where we return output. And let's not do any of that initial value stuff. Let's see at the requests it does. And so it returns data output, but user router data is still empty. That's a bit unfortunate. Okay, so we do get all of that stuff here. Uh, I was hoping that it means that we also get it here. Okay. Okay, so now if I do so it's basically doesn't do anything on SSR now, which we decided is fine. Uh, we still kind of want to see something uh, client side. So creator source, if it's an async function, and if we await it here, okay, still nothing. Okay, we have something in get doc, but then okay, we get something in get doc. How many times we call it? Okay, so the value refetching. Okay, so if this is slog, okay, I'm extremely confused. Okay, so if I do this, if I do this, what's going to happen? Okay, not exactly what I was expecting to get. I guess we broke slug somehow. Uh, okay, return C. Okay, so we clearly are returning proper values. We don't do anything on server-side rendering though, but we might. Let's try this again. Okay, so it got different result. Okay, so we're getting different results. Okay. So what's not happening is this thing is no longer changing. Okay, so we're getting the data. Okay, so now have initial value. Initial value, then it's undefined. Okay. It's initial value, then it's undefined because we're not using, we don't have initial value here. Value in JS bundle. Okay. But when I click on the other article, why doesn't it switch to the other one? Okay, this is confusing. Okay, let's look at this again. So we create resource. This resource has a function and options. So now this one is like not not switching basically on the path. Okay, so this, yeah, it's okay. Okay, I'm super confused. So now let's start again. So if I return create resource that is just it's just returning 1, 2, 3 as a string, and that's it. And we getting value of it. Okay, so and we are calling it. Okay, So it's 1, 2, 3. Everything is simple. How do I get slug into it? Okay, so slug is not changing. Uh, so if I do it like that, also not changing. Okay. Uh, just means that we kind of like called it once and cached the result, which is not great. So what if we return like a new key for every request that we do? Doesn't do anything. Okay, again, not great. uh, do they have any examples? Create store. Is that the same thing? Yeah, I don't know how create store goes into that. So source signal. So uh, what if this is my source signal? It's just not a, yeah. Okay, so if what if it's a value? Okay, nothing. So what if it's this? Okay, nothing. uh, what if it's params? Okay, I might be testing it wrong. Uh, okay, what's if it's a function that returns this? Okay, think, think. Uh, okay, so we should just try to, yeah, that's where docs usually help. I don't even know what I'm expecting, and I don't have like a good example. Okay, so we're looking for data, which is a cool name, doesn't mean anything as usual. Okay, so data. So use params, create resource. That's inside of the function, but I wanted to play with the router. The router gets params, location, navigate, data. Okay. And it's just structuring them, by the way, which you should never be doing. How's it going? My family is watching Super Bowl. Good for them. Like I don't know any sports. Uh, I know that I lived in California at the time that it was happening in San Francisco somewhere. So I saw some people who were like celebrating it, and that's kind of it. Okay, so let's recreate this example. Yeah, so what we're doing, we're trying to create kind of like a meta framework based on Astro and Solid Router. I'm still trying to figure out how to use Solid Router because uh, I have a I have a route which is changing when I navigate between pages, and my like data function doesn't doesn't cooperate. Okay, so I have params here. I can create I can create a fetcher that returns, yeah, something like that, and it returns a user. So that's kind of like where we're going with it. Okay, and the returns undefined now, which is not great. Yeah, it's just undefined now. Okay, so can we at least do this? Oh yeah, so it's not ID, it's log. Okay, so this function is getting called. Yeah, the thing is that it was working, and I'm so upset that maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I guess it's probably working right now as it was working before. We got our function called, but I don't know how to show it in UI. Okay, so when I click on it, we get the call, but it doesn't show up in the it doesn't show up in use route data. So there is another one, use route params, I think. Probably just use params. So let's try that one. So when I navigate, yeah. I don't really know what to say here. uh, it doesn't look like params sees the change. Okay, let's try use location. Okay, so the location is I don't know what that means. Yeah, I'm basically looking for this. So when I change it, okay, does something. Um, so my location changes. Now, how do I get data for this location? I think the whole idea behind router is that when you click on something, you can like start data fetching and kind of like lazy loading the component. That part clearly clearly not going to work. Um, and I don't know if I'm using API wrong. Does it look like it? Okay, so let's start with maybe like just using different routes. Maybe it doesn't work with. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work when it's like star slog. Maybe like this one will work. in could try to see if I can reproduce this bug in solid start. I kind of don't wanna. Okay, so here's one last experiment that we're going to do. Um, I'm going to create a path. Sure. Okay. Uh, so now I'm going to create data and kind of like all the same stuff. But it's going to be kind of like specific to our philosophy. And I guess that means that it doesn't have so 5 and 1. Yeah. So it detects that we're going to different pages this way, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work when it still thinks that we're on the same path, and I don't know how to make it think differently. Okay. Uh, well, I could do that. I could just create like an array for all different pages because we don't have that many pages, but it's a pretty silly thing. So let's try to have this function as, I don't know, docs gather. uh, and so it takes params. Yeah, I guess we should also route data func. Okay, so here's our idea. We just put it here and we try. Okay, different values. Now, okay, so I will just do something like this. So slug and this. Okay, one of them works, the other doesn't. Even though they're the same ones, but this one has slug. Okay, so if I remove it, both of them are not working. But if here, well, I wonder if I can parameterize it. Okay, so this function returns data function, and this one, okay, kind of like that. And now, if I put slug here, no, not here, right here. I guess here, slug string. If I put it here and I replace param slug with slug, and here I do slug. Okay, I think I have just too many parentheses. Okay, so this one is going to be our philosophy, and this one is going to be Yeah, just like slog. Okay, so okay, at least it works. So I can create like a separate one for each one. So this is going to be like comparison. Comparisons. Okay. Yep. Here we go. Yeah, thank you. uh, I still feel like I'm not the one who is wrong here. But okay. So now let's go back to our thing. Uh, we wanted to get, I think, this one. Uh, okay. So let output equals 0, and we don't need this. We just need this. We don't need I. We oh, am I doing wrong? I think not. I think yeah, just async here, and I think that should be fine. Okay, I'm seeing different values. Okay, I'm seeing different values here. Okay, let me just copy it back. Okay, so where did it work? Work here. Now, if I add async here, will it stop working? Okay, why or how? Okay, so if it's not async, but it returns like a new promise that resolves after some time. Okay, well, here's your problem. Here's definitely your problem. Uh, it works where this thing is a sync. Which, why would you ever do that? Fetch users clearly is a sync function, a sync fetching function. Ah, okay, and now if it's sync function, that works. I think it's just broken. I don't. I don't think I can do anything here. It's this router is just broken. This is like this is like a 3 for 3 so far with a 10 stack router, React router, which is like remix router now, or yeah. Okay. What the hell? How is it not working when fetch user is a sync? Okay, so here's our uh, here's our bug report. Uh, yeah, that's unfortunate. Anyway, someone from Solid team watching, yeah, give it a shot. It's QGP. Uh, do we have a link to our GitHub? Yeah. So like on the bottom, uh, here's our link, and here's the thing that's not working. Why can't I why can't I fetch stuff asynchronously? It's one thing that, like here when I do create resource, if I create initial value, this value can't be a synchronous value. It has to be calculated before, which is complicates stuff like a lot, but okay, I can live with that. But if your fetch function can't be async, I don't know what you're doing, guys. Um, okay, and this thing is running in SPA mode. So it's like it's not that it's broken because of SSR or something. This thing should have been working. Oh, I guess it's like because of the initial value. Yeah. So it's like undefined. So it's clearly broken in both. So anyway, um, I felt again. I was going to write a um, whole SSR meta framework, but everyone's against me. Okay. Did I miss any YouTube chat? Yeah, I turned off like YouTube chat. I made it how do you say it? Subscriber only to get less spam, and I don't know if that made it so that no one just chats now in YouTube. Okay,